You're watching KCRG TV 9. Now, from your 24-hour news source. This is KCRG TV 9 News at 6.
A holiday homecoming trip to Iowa turned into one man accusing the State Patrol of an illegal search and seizure.
Tim Callahan of Reno, Nevada, says a state trooper seized his computer and other electronics after stopping him for speeding on Friday. The traffic stop happened east of Council Bluffs on I-80 while he was on his way to the Cedar Rapids area to visit family. He says the trooper called for a drug dog before handing him the ticket. That same day, the Iowa Supreme Court decided another case that seems similar to this one. KCRG TV 9's Dave Fransman joins us on the story.
Dave, it was that wait for a drug dog during a traffic stop that really was a big part of the Supreme Court ruling.
That was one of the key parts of the case against Robert Pardee. That was that 2012 case from Poweshiek County. And the court ruled delaying the traffic citation to wait for a drug dog wasn't allowed unless there was some other evidence there to call for the search of the vehicle. Now, Tim Callahan says that's what the court decided Friday should also apply to his traffic stop. Callahan thinks the Nevada license plates might have drawn the trooper's attention when he was caught going 62 in a 55-mile-an-hour zone. But rather than write the ticket and tell Callahan to slow down, the officer called for a drug dog.
The canine officer came back and said that the dog alerted positively near the driver's door for drugs. I think he said methamphetamine, which I laughed because there's never been anything like that. I've never even seen that drug. The trooper took the vehicle back to the patrol post, and Callahan and a passenger waited 3 hours in a detention area for the search to wrap up. He said officers found no drugs and told them they could go. But the trooper then said authorities were keeping a laptop, computer, tablet, and phones for a possible criminal investigation. And Callahan said the reason given to him was officers found a piece of paper with information about marijuana seeds in his notebook. Even if what he claims was in there is in there, that's not against the law. When Callahan got to eastern Iowa, he found a lawyer back in Council Bluffs to try to get his property back. He also learned about the state court ruling limiting what police can do during routine traffic stops to make more serious criminal cases. I'm going to file a civil suit for illegal search and seizure because I think until somebody stands up for the rights of the drivers from out of state that come through that corridor and have them violated in that little pocket there, where they operate in that 55-mile-an-hour zone. A spokesperson for the Iowa State Patrol in Des Moines issued a statement about the traffic stop involving Callahan late this afternoon. He said, quote, a trained narcotic K-9 conducted a free air sniff of the exterior of the vehicle and gave a positive indication for narcotics. But the spokesperson also said he could not tell me any information about why they kept those personal belongings because an active investigation.
And on it goes. Yeah. Thanks, Dave. Well, this was drug court graduation day in Iowa City. The participants are people who battle substance abuse and who've gone through at least 12 months of regular court hearings before completing the program. The program also encourages them to invest in the community and find support so they don't relapse. 5 people graduated today. One of them said she's worked really hard to change her life for the better and couldn't have done it without drug court.
They showed me the path. They showed me how to do things right. Didn't always feel that way. Matter of fact, didn't think I was going to make it, but they do things that you constantly question, but in the end, it works out the way that it's supposed to, if you're committed to it.
The drug treatment program says housing one inmate in prison costs about $54 a day, while having one client on community-based supervision costs $1.88 per day.
With rivers rising in eastern Iowa, the city of Cedar Rapids has closed a couple of roads, and that includes Otis Road along the river between the Cargill plant and the Prairie Creek fishery. Creek flooding also closed J Street southwest of Prairie Creek, and the Cedar River will continue to rise through the week thanks to all that rain we got.
Let's check in now with meteorologist Joe Winters. And Joe, we have a chance of even more rain moving in.
It looks like as we head through the overnight hours, certainly into the morning hours, some light rain, and thankfully it will remain light. I don't think it's going to affect some of those river forecasts. Let's take a quick look at the Cedar River. The Cedar River at Cedar Falls expected to crest on Thursday about 91.2. It's at 87.6 right now, and that would put it in some moderate flood stage, very minor flood stage along the Cedar River, expecting just over 12 feet, about 12.5 foot crest, that coming on Saturday. Additional rain certainly could cause problems problems. Right now, we're pretty quiet. Temperatures in the 30s. The clouds, though, will bring some rain our way. We'll show you how much and see how long it lasts coming up.
Thank you, Joe. All 4 of Iowa's major hospital systems are now part of the state's Medicaid modernization plan. Governor Branstad announced the news today, and they include Mercy Health Network, University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics, Unity Point Health, and Genesis Health System. The 4 represent more than 3,500 Medicaid doctors, 73 rural clinics, and 47 general hospitals. The last day people can sign up for coverage is Thursday. Coverage begins January 1st. Providers have until the end of the year to sign up.
In a KCRG TV9 follow-up tonight, several Dubuque businesses are helping out now after police say someone intentionally drove through the city's Veterans Memorial Plaza, causing $15,000 damage. Police say the vandalism happened sometime late last Friday night or early Saturday morning. They say someone was driving a dark-colored SUV through the plaza, knocking over a column and destroying a memorial bench. Today, Carrie Bowman, the owner of Pinot's Palette, said she plans to host a wine and painting event as a fundraiser on February 2nd, and all of the proceeds will help pay for security cameras for the Veterans Plaza.
You know, we need to honor and protect this memorial for the people that protected us, you know, during troubled times and, you know, nowadays.
The Dubuque Association of Independent Insurance Agents made a donation today to help cover the cost of replacing the bench that the vandals destroyed. That bench honored the memory of 2 brothers, Vincent and Leo Troy.
In a TV9 follow-up, Iowa's Department of Natural Resources wants to hear from you about how to reduce alcohol-related incidents at state beaches. We told you in June how the DNR started to look at beach safety after they say alcohol fueled at least 2 fights on state beaches. Now the chief of the Iowa State Parks Bureau wants to hear from the public on how to best approach this issue. So if you'd like to comment, just go to this story on kcrg.com for more information.
Organizations are hosting watch parties for tonight's Republican presidential debate. CNN is hosting the final GOP debate of the year, which comes 7 weeks before the Iowa caucuses. The 4 candidates who are lower in the polls are debating right now. The other 9 candidates will take the stage at 7:30 tonight. The watch parties, some of them are taking place at Bushwood's Bar and Grill and the Long Branch in Cedar Rapids and the Inspire Cafe in Dubuque. Democrat Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign is touting her plan to eliminate student debt for state schools.
But her new ad on it also makes a claim about the current system of college loans. The KCRG TV9 and Gazette Fact Check put him to the test.
And I don't believe the federal government should be making a profit off of lending to young people who are borrowing to be able to get their education.
The Clinton campaign points to a government accountability report in 2014, estimating the federal government would make $66 billion from the interest on student loans. But that report uses a federally mandated method to calculate that cost and revenue based on current interest rates and assuming all of the loans and interest will be repaid. That paints a much better financial picture of the program. The Congressional Budget Office uses a fair value approach, which accounts for the inherent risk in lending money. A CBO report estimated federal student loan programs would actually cost taxpayers $88 billion over the next 10 years. University of Iowa economics professor John Salo is one of several financial experts we found who say the fair value is more accurate in estimating the cost of student loans, which is why Hillary Clinton's claim the government profits off student loans gets a D grade.
A proposed sports complex in Iowa City could offer more to people than just your typical sports activities.
Cricket has come up, lacrosse has come up, cross-country course has come up.
We'll look at why the city says another complex is a good thing and where it would go next on TV9.
You're watching your 24-hour news source, KCRG TV9, with Bruce Owney, Beth Malicki, Chief Meteorologist Joe Winters, and Sports Director Scott Sable. This is KCRG TV9 News at 6.
I am Captain Jansen with the 4224 United States Army Hospital, and I'm currently stationed at Landstuhl, Germany. I wanted to wish all my family and friends in Dubuque, Iowa, a happy holidays.
Leaders in Iowa City are eyeing a new East Side sports complex that could bring more recreational opportunities to the area. The idea comes after recent flooding forced tennis courts and baseball diamonds in Lower City Park to close for much of the summers of 2013 and 14.
Well, now the city's looking for ways to expand recreation to other parts of the community. The hope is to transform about 75 acres of city-owned farmland into recreational space. This would be just north of where Taft Avenue intersects with 420th Street Southeast. KCRG TV9's Iowa City Bureau Chief Mark Carlson looks at the impact such a project would have on Iowa City.
Lower City Park in Iowa City is perhaps the city's most popular place to have a catch or play some tennis. But city officials say there needs to be more places like this as City Park continues to flood, the city continues to expand east, and the county's population continues to grow.
We wouldn't go to the trouble of hiring a consultant if we didn't think it was a doable project.
Officials hope to have a draft of the new East Side Sports Complex out sometime in the next month. It will likely include more tennis courts, baseball diamonds, and soccer fields.
There is definitely a shortage of courts on the east side of town.
More tennis courts is good news for Craig Carney, owner of Racket Master in Iowa City. Carney says the sport of tennis is growing in popularity, and there's always a need for more quality lighted courts.
Probably there's more tennis going on, especially at the junior level, than there ever has been before.
Now, city officials aren't just looking to add more traditional facilities like baseball and softball diamonds. They're also considering things you might not normally see at an athletic complex, things like cross-country trails or maybe a pickleball setup.
We've even heard need for additional indoor space, which wasn't something we were really looking at from the onset, but walking track, gymnasium, there seems to be a lot of different ideas out there.
Ultimately, officials say they just hope to get a good mix of sports and activities. In Iowa City, Mark Carlson, KCRG TV9 News.
Iowa State is getting ready to debut an explosive transfer on the basketball court.
All this week, we're featuring John Campbell's Big Ol' Fish, and tonight, the Little Fisherman shows us how to get her done.
And today we still saw highs that were above normal, but certainly a little closer to normal than we've seen the past couple of days. 40 degrees, a popular number around Dubuque, also near the Iowa City area. We'll take a look at how cool it'll get by the end of the week next. Keep it here on TV9.
Now, the First Alert Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Joe Winters.
And we start off with our traffic check. This is Cedar Rapids, Collins Road at Rockwell Drive Northeast. Certainly Collins Road, as it is in this area, alive with traffic, but as you see, no troubles. We have normal winter driving conditions and those road temperatures well above the freezing mark. Your first alert as we head through tonight and tomorrow shows no additional problems. The winds will be out there and a bit stronger tomorrow, but I don't think they'll cause major problems. That's why we're keeping the wind icon green. 37 degrees in Decorah right now, 38 in Cedar Rapids, 39 in Washington, so pretty consistent temperatures right now throughout eastern Iowa. And in fact, with the clouds overhead, we'll stay in the mid to upper 30s now and slowly rise as we head through the nighttime hours as some stronger south and southeast winds start to kick in. They're already around generally from the southeast, about 15 to 25 miles per hour. They'll stay and then again continue to swing to the south and eventually the southwest, dragging up temperatures that probably by midnight will be very close to 40 degrees. That's in advance of a warm front that's headed our way. Isolated activity along that front. Very, very light precipitation possible. You'll see that coming up on Pinpoint Futurecast. As that whole system moves out, cooler and drier conditions become our forecast focus for a few days. In fact, highs will be getting closer to normal for at least a day by the end of the week. And then we look at the ups and downs. Right now, we're in a very mild pattern. And the shot of cold air that's coming our way for the end of the week, there it comes. You see the blues and purples. It's a brief shot of cold air. It moves in Thursday into Friday, then quickly it heads toward the east. And look what's happening back off to the west. Warmth already building. That heads our way as we head into next week. 40s definitely back in the forecast for early next week. Pinpoint Futurecast tonight. Watch by midnight. Some isolated sprinkles or drizzle start to move in. That's around through 6 a.m. Then we do see those winds start to switch later in the day as a cold front moves through, but I think we're pretty much dry then as we head into the beginning of the weekend. 37 Decorah, 39 degrees in Cedar Rapids. Isolated shower late. Southeast winds expected at 10 to 20. Highs tomorrow will be in the lower to middle 40s. Isolated morning shower with windy conditions and strong southwest winds at 20 to 30. There's the extended forecast. We'll dry it off early on Wednesday. Cooler weather. Friday's high, 29 degrees. As we head into Saturday and Sunday, the 30s and 40s really come back. And early next week, as we start Christmas week, more rain is in the forecast for both Monday and Tuesday. Scott is up next with sports. Keep it here on TV 9.
Now, KCRG TV 9 Sports with Sports Director Scott Sable.
Big news from the Iowa State basketball program today. Naz Metrulong will miss the rest of the season. The senior sharpshooter will sit out the rest of the year to recover from arthroscopic surgery he had on both hips this past spring. The pain is just too much, and boy, is that a big loss. Naz will seek a medical redshirt. How about some good news? The Cyclones will add Marquette transfer Deontay Burton into the mix this Saturday against UNI. The 6'4" Burton is an explosive athlete, as you can see by his high-flying dunks.
I think Deontay is a good addition to this team, especially I think it's going to be big for him to be in transition with us. You know, he's very fast, and he's going to be times he's going to play at the 4 a little bit, and I know with him playing at the 4 would be a great advantage. You know, he'd be faster than most 4s in the country, and when we get a steal, it's just another body to get out there, and he can make plays passing and playing above the rim too.
With work boots on, you see that? Kane Thompson turned Alburnett into a wrestling powerhouse. Can he continue the tradition at Prairie? Scott Westerberg has the story.
Be relentless with your technique and getting that down.
When Kane Thompson arrived at Prairie this season, he brought along a reputation of winning.
I knew he had a lot of success back at Alburnett, so I was hoping he could bring that here, and he really has this year. He's gotten us to do very well so far.
Anytime you accept a new job, and there's going to be some new fire kind of lit under you, I think, because things are changed. You got to bring your mark to the program. You got to set your tone early.
And the tone that Thompson has set at Prairie is working. The Hawks are undefeated in duels, and the wrestlers have nothing but positive things to say about their new coach.
I really like him. He's got some good technique for us, and he's really pushing the team environment, so it's going really well.
It didn't take Coach Thompson long to run into the team that he knows so well. This past weekend at the 5-season duel, the Prairie Hawks found themselves matched up with Alburnett in the finals.
It's kind of weird when every kid that steps on the mat, you at one point or another have coached in some way. And some of them for quite a long time.
He coached the kids on both teams, and I mean, it kind of speaks highly of him, being as though he was the head coach of most of the wrestlers in the finals that day.
While Thompson still has so many connections to this Alburnett team, his sights are set on the future at Prairie.
And to see those guys still doing well, and I knew they would under Coach Clayton Rush, it was rewarding to see. And then to see our guys step up, though, and compete here for Prairie was great as well.
In Cedar Rapids, Scott Westerberg, TV 9 Sports.
Thanks, Scott. It's Big Old Fish Week. We'll be running them all week at 6 o'clock. Here's the Big Old Fish himself.
On the left is Vince Dyers and his dogfish. On the right, Carter Keel and a huge northern. The boys are from Anamosa. Hats off to Tony Gonzalez and his nice Wapsie bluegill. Next up is Evan Stolman of Williamsburg and a huge Lake Iowa channel cat. We stay with the catfish theme. This is Temperance Baker. Way to go, Buddy Rowe. Evan Crumno kick-started his fishing career with a catch-and-release bluegill from the Res. And here's one you don't see every day. 2 for the price of 1. Valera Hatcher is the happy angler. And bringing down the curtain is Isaac Wise of Palo and the smallie he hooked in downtown Cedar Rapids. With all my fishing friends, this is John Campbell reporting.
Finally, we have 3 new finalists for the KCRG TV 9 Athlete of the Week, sponsored by Cedar Rapids Toyota. All 3 hoopsters this week. Athlete number 1 is Solon Streeter McElravy, who is averaging over 23 points and 9 rebounds a game. Athlete number 2 is Samantha Eulenkamp of Central City. Sam has averaged 21 points and 8 boards in her last 4 games. Athlete number 3, Derek Diggins of Kennedy, He lit up Xavier for 25 points, is averaging 19 a game. To vote, go to kcrg.com. I'll feature the winner Thursday night at 10. We've got a doubleheader over on 9.2 right now. Kennedy and Wash, the girls' game is already underway.
Check it out.
Yes.
Thanks.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Family, friends, and others in the Center Point-Urbana community are coming together tonight to remember this 18-year-old student who was killed in a hit-and-run crash in Ames yesterday. She was a student at Iowa State University, and we'll be sharing those people's memories of Emily Jacobs tonight at 10.
Turning now to our meteorologist, Joe Winters, for a check of our forecast tonight.
Quiet conditions this evening. The rain that develops really isn't until after midnight. Should remain fairly light. Will not affect your travel. For the most part, could there be a little drizzle or some patchy fog in the morning? It's a possibility. About 43 degrees as we start our day.
Thanks for joining us for the KCRG TV 9 News at 6.
Hope to have you with us at 10. Have a good evening.